Hello, in this video I'm going to talk a little bit about an area of the game that I don't really cover a whole lot, and that is Cyrodiil in the PvP and why you should focus on taking resources from the keeps that you're going after, and what that specifically does when you're out and about in the Cyrodiil. So as you can see right now, I'm in a map that is predominantly handled by the Ebonheart Pact, and that is really good. So that's going to allow me to jump around to several different keeps of Cyrodiil and explain what's going on here. So really quickly, I'm going to jump to a keep that has all three resources in the same color and it's owned. So we're going to analyze the life bars of the guards are 71,000 roughly on every one of these. The door is 195,000. The front door is 195,000. The walls are 410. So that's what happens when you have a fully loaded uh, keep. Again, the guards outside are 119,000. So keeping in mind with those numbers, we have 119,000 for the guards, and then when you get closer in, these ones are 71,000. And so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to jump to a keep, for example, that has a farm taken, and we're going to look at the life bars of those guards to see what difference the guards are there. So as you can see, the farm has been taken on this, and so we have 108,000 and only 65,000. So the guards and everybody has less life here on this keep because the farm has been taken. They're a little bit lower life, so we'll go out here to the front, and these are 108,000 here instead of the 119. So there is a reduction in life bar if you take the farm for the guards. So the next thing that we're going to look at is the front door. So the front door was 119, or excuse me, 195. So we're going to jump down here to Fort Ash because the lumber mill has been taken, and we're going to look at the health of the door on that. So now we're going to walk out the front door here once we land. And as you can see, the front door is only 150, not 195. And that is why it is important to focus on specifically what resource you want to take. There's 150,000 on this door instead of 195. So that's a reduction in 45,000 health. So just to give you an idea, if you're smacking a ram here on the door, that's at least 4 or 5 rotations on the ram. If you're only working ballistas, that's going to be a considerable amount of rounds on your ballistas because your ballistas are only going to hit 2,000 a piece at maximum. So if you've got 3 ballistas running at a door, maybe you're by yourself and just trying to take a keep. That 45,000, only taking 6,000 at a time, that's going to be at least 9 or 10 rotations through your ballistas if you don't go take the uh, lumber first. So it's always a good idea, whatever method you're doing. I would always recommend taking the farm. It's going to make these guys' life bars lower. It's going to make it quicker to melt them down. And then depending on which route you're taking, if you want to disconnect the keep, absolutely take all 3. But I would highly recommend prioritizing the lumber mill and the farm because that is going to make your door have less life bar and your enemies right here guarding the door are going to have less of a life bar. So that is one of the reasons I like to do this is because I'm not really a PvPer. I like to do this kind of stuff here where you take the resources and the keeps, but I thought maybe I would do a little video talking about why it is important to take those and what it actually physically does to the keeps and whatnot, so that you can see what that does, because there are reasons for doing that. So if you don't know, if you take all three of the resource, that will disconnect the keep like this here, so that you can't travel from keep to keep on your faction to the owned ones. And so it's always a good idea to try to take all three if you're going to go for the uh, keep. But if you're trying to go really quickly, I would go definitely take the door, the lumber to make the door reduced in life bar. That is going to take down both doors, the inner door and the outer door. It's going to make them a lot easier. A total of probably 100,000 if you count in both doors of what they would amount to. But that is going to speed up the process of taking your keep tremendously. I would highly recommend always going and taking your lumber and then blasting down the door. Even if you have a large group, that's going to speed it up considerably. So collectively across two doors, that's going to take 33% of the life bar out of your door probably. So give that a shot. See if that helps you speed up your keep takes in PvP. I would highly recommend doing that system. If you don't have problems with the guards, then maybe you can skip the farm, but I would highly recommend making sure you take out your lumber mill, and that should be a high priority regardless of your situation. And then always go for the door, because the door has a lower life bar than the walls. The walls have, as you can see, 410 when they are at full health. The door, even if it has full health, is only 195. So there's a considerable lower life bar on the door. So I would recommend going for the door virtually every time. I know there's probably a, a case to every point that could argue for some different instance, but in most cases, the door is the best way to go, and that is why. But if you thought this video was helpful or interesting, please consider liking the video and subscribing to my YouTube channel. I have a very large catalog of videos on my YouTube channel. If you go to my main page on YouTube, go to my playlist tab, you'll be able to find all of that organized content there. Thank you again for watching, and I will see you in another video. Bye.